Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 58 of the Anatomy of Knitting podcast. My name is Erin, and I'm going to be your host. Today is February 5th, 2015, and I'm coming to you from Cork, Ireland. I'm an American expat living here in Ireland, and I'm a knitter and a sewer and all sorts of other things. So let's get started. I have a few things to talk about. Let me just get comfy. So we're going to talk about the week in review. I'll talk about what is on my knitting needles, and then I'll talk about things that I've been quilting as well. So let's get started. This week's week in review is going to be kind of short, not exactly as exciting as last week's was. My husband and I just got back from picking up our GNIB cards. And these cards are what we have to have, being non-citizens, to carry around to prove that we've registered with the police force here, which they call the Garda. And it's just hoops that we have to jump through about living here. Excuse me. The way that it's done now is different from last year. So what you do is you go and you apply for it, and then 2 weeks later you have to return back and pick up your card, which just to me seems like a kind of not a very good way to do things, because then you have people who have to wait in line twice, and that just makes all the lines longer. But I don't make the rules here. I just have to follow them, unfortunately. So we just got done doing that, picked up our GNIB cards. And my husband took his final driver's test this week. Because we have U.S. driver's license, we can't just take those and hand them over and get an Irish driver's license. We have to jump through, we have to do all the things that citizens of the EU have to do to get a driver's license here. So basically we're treated as I think it's a garbage truck. Yep. Garbage truck. So basically we have to be like renew, we're going to be new driver's license holders. So you have to get through your learner permit, you have to get 12 hours of driving instruction, and then you can take your driving test. And that's like an actual, driving test. So I still am waiting on my learner's permit. Apparently it was mailed on Monday, but I have yet to see it. Hope it didn't get lost in the mail. And that's all the bureaucracy that we've had to deal with this week. The other thing that I wanted to talk about this week in Ravelry is Instagram. Now, for those of you who are on Instagram and who aren't following me, I am EKSRN2002, like so, and I am up to 227 followers, which is, I typically don't really watch like how many followers I have, but it's kind of exciting to see that 200 people, or over 200 people, are following me. So I had a few comments this week. One was from Amphibia Knitter, who said that she apparently had lost touch with the podcast. She, I guess, was a listener back when I was just doing audio podcasts and hadn't seen the video podcast, so she was really excited to catch up. So, hello. And so that's just really exciting. And I really like Instagram. I find that I get a lot of inspiration not only for knitting, but for quilting as well. Again, here's your weekly Ari appearance. Right? Weekly Ari appearance. So, again, if you want to follow me, I am EKSRN2002. So, I'm also on Twitter, but I don't really do much on Twitter lately. I think I'm at KnittingRN. on Twitter if you want to follow me there, but I don't really post much there anymore. And then I'm knitting around on Ravelry if you haven't friended me on Ravelry. And please friend me and I'll friend you back. I love being able to watch the friend activity on Ravelry and see all the things that people are queuing and knitting and finishing and all sorts of things. I find that really inspiring. Excuse me. So that, I think, is really basically all the week in review that I wanted to talk about. So knitting-wise, I have continued on the Hopper cardigan, and I am keeping this in my cross patch bag, which is a bag that I made. And I actually made my mom one of these as well. It's from a book, Vintage Quilt Revival, I think is the book. And it's a paper-pieced pattern, which is kind of fun. So this is my Hopper cardigan. I have split for the, I guess this would be the left front, and have knit some of it. I think last week I had a couple more inches I needed to do on the body, which I finished. It looks super long, but I think it will be just fine. This is this is the back that I'm actually holding up to my front, so just pretend that it's where it needs to be. Yeah, I think it'll be good. I always have a tendency to make my sweaters too short, so I tried to solve that with this sweater. I don't like short sweaters. So I am currently working on doing what's the shifting of the chart. So if you hold it up, you'll see that it sort of kind of creates a princess seam appearance. Like so. So you decrease on one side and then you increase on the other to get that shifting of the chart. Let me see if I can open up the book and show you. I've got a super fancy way of keeping track of all of my decreases and stuff. Yeah, so here is the main photo, and you'll see how this cable and lace detail kind of turns into sort of a princess seam detail, which is kind of nice. So I'm, currently working on this part right here, and I got just a little bit left to go. So it's pretty exciting. It'll be nice to. I mean, the sweater is feeling like it's a lot closer to being done than it had been, which is good motivation. So that's the sweater. And I have a really high-tech way that I am keeping track. You'll see I had to redo some calculations because I cast on for the largest size, but to accommodate my hips and my bust, but I was aiming for the next size down armholes. So I had to make sure that I had the 16 anyway, I just had to do that. And then this is my super high-tech way that I am keeping track of the ways that I need to bind off and do short rows, and yeah. Actually, I don't even remember. Oh, shaping rows or shifting rows. I think that's shifting rows over there. And yeah, I have to do 8 of them, and I've only done 3, and I've done all of the 8, 4, 3, 2, 1 bind off. So yeah, my super high tech paper way, because I find that I don't really keep track on when I attempt to keep track on my row counter on my phone, but I find that I'm not super successful most of the time. So that's what that's looking like. And for those of you who are newer listeners, I've already completed the sleeves. I did that first. I've been working on this sweater since, I think, October. I took it to the States when we went to go visit my family in October. So, yeah, this has been super long. I typically don't take this long to knit sweaters, but I sort of got, I think, bored after I cast. Well, I took a big break between casting off the sleeves and casting on the sweater, or the body of the sweater, so yeah, I did quite a few other things since then. And again, the color is just not showing up super well. That's a little more accurate. My coloring is very accurate here, but yeah, it's so more of an appley green. And you'll see I have some wee one stitch markers. I got my sheep here, and then there's some black cats as well. Black cats. There's one that has a yarn ball. I think I took him off. I think he's down under. A super high-tech way of keeping track or recording the podcast. I have my laptop on 2 pillows. So there's the other stitch marker. It's a cat with a yarn ball. So that's the Hopper cardigan. It's going really well. We are planning to go to Dublin this weekend, so I think I'm going to take it with us on the car ride. It takes about 3 hours to get up to Dublin from here. So hopefully I'll be able to get not only this front, but maybe the other front and the back's done. And then I can assemble. So the next thing I was going to talk about, one thing that I have done a lot of since I lived here is that I decided I needed a bunch of hats. So I made sock head hats. And this is a free pattern on Ravelry. It's ribbing, and then stockinette, 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 and then you decrease really quickly to get this nice little, it's a slouchy hat. So this is the sock head hat that I knit out of Highland Handmade's Fruju. And this is a colorway that Heather from Highland Handmaids made to help support Wendy Frew of the Sassy Pants Knitter podcast. And I love this hat. But my son, Nathaniel, also loves this hat as well. He, when we go outside and he wants a hat, he'll go, hat, hat, hat. And he means that he wants to wear this hat. And we've been to the grocery store, and he just doesn't like going to the grocery store lately. So he'll like pull the hat down so it's completely over his head. And I'll get like all of these strange stares in the grocery store because people think I'm not paying attention to my child, but I'll pull his hat up and he'll pull it right back down. So I just don't do that. So I decided that, and Malcolm likes to wear the green hat, the green sparkly sock head hat that I knit out of Woolen Yarns Wicked colorway on her blitzed base. So it's sparkly and it's green and it's really pretty. So I decided that these boys needed to have sock head hats of their own. So what I did is I went stash diving, and I found 2 skeins of yarn, and I decided to cast on Nathaniel's hat first. This is a skein of yarn that I purchased in Phoenix, Arizona. It's Frolicking Feet in the colorway Pot of Gold by Done Roving Yarns. It is superwash, and they have a website at doneroving.com. So here is the ball. It was a very rainbow appearing yarn when I purchased it, although now that I've balled it up, it looks a lot more pink than it did in the skein. The skein hadn't been reskeined, so it looked like, it did when they dyed it. So, you just saw green and blues and purples and all that. So I cast on Nathaniel's sock head hat, and I decreased the amount of stitches cast on for the hat. I think I decreased it by 20 stitches just so it wouldn't be so loose, because the current sock head hats are loose. Mainly because I think I have such a bigger head than they do, so I kind of stretched out the hat. So this is the Pot of Gold colorway. So I cast it on and I knit the knit the ribbing, and I was not really sure that I loved that, i.e. I was kind of thinking I hated it. But I knew that the gauge would change from the ribbing up to the stockinette stitch portion. So I decided I'd stick it out and knit the 4 inches of ribbing to see what the stockinette stitch portion would look like. And I don't hate it. I actually like the stockinette stitch portion a lot better. So this is his hat. I've showed it to him. I don't think he really understood what I was showing to him. But when I showed them the yarns that I picked out for their hats, and when I did that, Nathaniel, I had them, out like this. I said, "Oh, I'm going to make you hats of your own. These are the yarns that I picked." Nathaniel came running up, and he grabbed the yarn, sock yarn that I had picked for his, and he took it out of my hand and he hugged it. It was so cute. I nearly died from cuteness. It was so cute. So that's Nathaniel's hat. I'm also going to take this with us to Dublin so I can get that done. And again, I've been hand winding balls because I'm just too lazy to get out my skein winder and my ball winder because they're upstairs. And I usually think about doing that when I'm lazy, balling up these yarns. The second skein of yarn, this is going to be from Malcolm's hat, and it's not quite as blue as you see, or at least as I see on my monitor. This is more like the green. Maybe if I just put it in front of me. Yeah. This is a lot more emeraldy than it's showing up. This is a Tree Hugger's Wife Yarns. It's hand-dyed in Juneau, Alaska. Each skein is one of a kind. It's super washed, and the colorway is Forest Canopy. And you can find the shop at atreehuggerswife.etsy.com. And I was telling my mom about, because she had suggested that I knit the boys some hats when I was complaining about how they were stealing mine. And I told her, the one that I picked for Nate, we had bought in Phoenix, and then the one that and we were visiting his mother. Let me just go back to this one. We were visiting my husband's mother, and going to see the Grand Canyon, and she lives in Phoenix, so that's why we were in Phoenix. And I actually was pregnant with the boys at the time that I had purchased this yarn. I think I was maybe 6 weeks pregnant at the time. So it's like, makes me smile when I think of it, because he existed at that point when I bought that yarn for him. Although I bought it for me at the time, but it really was for him. My mom was surprised that I could remember that I bought this in Phoenix and this on our cruise to Alaska that we took probably about a year or two before we had the boys. It was easy to remember that I bought this one in Alaska because it says hand-dyed in Juneau, Alaska, and that's the only way that I've purchased Alaskan yarn, because I don't think I've been able to purchase Alaskan yarn anywhere else than that trip. So, excuse me. That is, that is the other yarn for the sockhead hats that I'm going to make. Next up is, I'm just going to talk quickly about some quilting. I am currently quilting my Spin It Again, and this is a quilt that I started back in the States. And it's currently, I have my needle in the quilt right now, and I'm currently, it's going to be this rainbowy color wheel. It's another paper piece pattern that I worked on. I have quilted some stippling in the white, and then you can see that I quilted some spirals in the gray, and now I'm doing with some clear thread in the and the colored parts just kind of these wavy lines to kind of make it look a little more pinwheely. It's kind of hard to describe. So hopefully after I finish packing for our trip and finish uploading the podcast, and what else do I have to do today? Hopefully after those things I can finish the quilt up. And then, because it's February now, I told you that I was part of that Modern Irish Bee group. You remember last month I made house blocks to participate in that. This month, I'm trying to pull up. Let's see. Go to my flagged. Should have had this up earlier. I am going to be making chug, hurry, internets. I'm going to be making a block that looks similar to this. Let's see, trying to get this without the glare. There we go. So it's going to have a white center, and then it's going to have these scrappy squares around it. And I have to make two 12.5-inch blocks. And if you're a quilter and you're interested, the tutorial for the Scrap Buster block is on littlemisshabby.com. So hopefully this is, as soon as I finish the quilt that I'm quilting, I will work on that. And I also have to work on, because I don't have enough time, I don't have enough things to do with raising 2 boys and knitting and the quilting bee, is that I volunteered to design and implement, I don't know if implement's the right word, but design and create block of the month quilts for the southern branch of the Irish Patchwork Society. So I have designed the quilts using some quilt design software called Electric Quilt 7, which I can't show you because it's going to be a mystery quilt. And what I've done is I picked out 12 blocks to do, and my plan is that I'm going to research the blocks and kind of find out the history of the blocks and how they got their names, and then, make examples / tutorials of how to make the block. And the first one that I've been doing the research on, I found out apparently was this quilt block. If you put it on the whole quilt, it helped direct people who were using the Underground Railroad in the United States. And for those of you who aren't from the U.S., the Underground Railroad is the system that escaped slaves used to head up north after they've had escaped their owners. So it's a neat history. When you look at you think it's just a silly little quilt block, but there's actually really historical things that are behind some of these blocks, and it was really nice to learn those kinds of things. So yeah, that's what I'm working on. And so I have my little workbook here. Yeah, it's been pretty exciting to work on this. I also volunteered again because I don't have too many things to do. I also volunteered to create the Irish Patchwork Southern branch of the Irish Patchwork Society's website, because the current one that they have is kaput. So if you're interested, it's a kind of bare bones right now because we have our meeting on Valentine's Day, and I'm going to try and get some input from people about what kind of things they want to see there. But if you're curious, it's ipscork.com. That's the website. yeah, I think that's everything. I'm up to 25 minutes. I'm just looking around. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's it. So this is a quick one. I'd like to thank you for watching. I don't know what video I'm going to put. I don't know if I have any videos from this week. I'll have to look. I'm not sure I do. Of the boys that I'll put after the podcast. But I bet I'll have some after this weekend with our trip. We're planning on, excuse me, we're planning on going to IKEA in Dublin because that's the only IKEA here in Ireland. And we need some things for organization. We are probably going to go to the zoo up in Dublin, so I think I'll have some video from them because the boys really like tigers and they like roaring like tigers. So. Yeah. So I'll have more, I think, next week because it'll just be like a recap of our weekend and any exciting things that I find there. Apparently there's a yarn store and a fabric store, about a yarn store and a fabric store, each about a 20-minute walk from the house. So yeah, we'll see. Should be exciting. So thank you for watching, and I shall see you next week. Bye. Hi, boys. Hi, boys. Hi, boys.
Say hi, Mama. Hi, Mama.
Hi.
First.